into this property, and I'm kind of, I'm 2 weeks into this, not sure knowing what I'm doing. And there were cockroaches the size of the end of a pencil, like a eraser, and they were immature. And we were walking, and he had his hand on my back, and we were walking through it because there were thousands of these.
Welcome back to the Property Management Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Wetherington, and I'm joined by your co-host, Greg Doering. Greg, how are you doing today?
I'm doing terrific, Eric. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Doing great. It's fantastic to be back with you on this podcast, Greg. And I want to remind our listeners, don't forget to like this episode and click subscribe so that you can be notified when we upload future episodes. That's the best way for you to know when we're uploading a new version of our episode of our podcast. So please make sure you click that subscribe button and we can move forward. Well, we are privileged to be joined today by somebody, Greg, that I think you've known for a few years. Jeff Doering. Jeff Doering. Do you know him, Greg?
Hello.
Yeah, I've known him for 50 plus years. So I know the good and the bad. So we know it all.
The good and the bad. Well, maybe we'll have to delve into that a little bit. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining our podcast. And why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Okay, that goes both ways, Greg. So,
That's true.
We can know the bad and the ugly about you too. So be very careful. Thanks for having me today. Appreciate being here. Let's see my background. I guess, Greg likes to remind me every time we vote for the governor of Texas, and probably March 2nd on Independence Day in Texas, that I was born in California. So we don't want to go back too far, but I got to Texas when I was 14. My whole family was born and raised in Texas, but my parents happened to be out there when we were born, and here I am. But my last 15, 20 years, I would say, I was in chiropractic. I was a chiropractor for about 10 years. I joined another chiropractor, and we formed a multidisciplinary practice up in Wichita Falls. And it was a pretty good sized practice, 5,000 square foot building. We hired a physical therapist, a medical doctor, and we had a lot going on. And as time went on, it became evident we needed an office manager, and that role kind of fell on me. And I continue to have that role. That's where I've ended up here at GDAA. There's another story with that. But that's my background. I got a Bachelor of Science in Psychology, which helps with Greg, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Anatomy, and then went on to get the doctorate in chiropractic. But here I am in property management. What a road we've traveled.
Wow. I'm one of these days, Greg, we're going to talk to somebody who said they went to college and studied property management, but so far I haven't run across anybody yet.
Isn't that interesting, Eric? I think ultimately we will. Someone saying they grew up in property management and wanted to do it. They've always wanted to be a property manager, but you're right. It's very few of us have had that desire or dream from early on to become a property manager. So I think you're right. We'll run into them.
I mean, Greg, what did you study in college?
I have a Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and a Bachelor of Arts in History. So, wow. And how about you, Eric? Wow. You're in you have a music background.
Yeah, I have a Bachelor of Music degree, so
right.
Nothing to do with property management or real estate or anything like that at all. So hey, there you go.
I think I'm the closest of all of you having something in political sciences, which is something close to the law, but that's a pretty far stretch.
Well, as we all know, there's an awful lot of politics involved in dealing with property management, and we'll talk about some of that later in our show today. But so, Jeff, what took you down the road and from chiropractic and running a chiropractic office and managing that operation to all of a sudden now you're in property management?
Right. Yeah. An odd trail. My wife, my first wife we were married 22 years. She passed away with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and I had taken care of her for an extended period of time. I left my practice, sold out of that, and took care of her and took care of the family. And it was a long road. And after she passed away in 2015, I found myself needing to be employed. And so I opened another practice. And Greg was probably 3 or 4 miles down the street. And he would come by every so often, and we would talk during the day. And he could tell my heart was not in it anymore. I just had a hard time jumping back into healthcare after having such an intense season of taking care of someone. There's many things I liked about it a lot, but I just didn't have the heart for it, the passion for it. So he had the brilliant idea. He said, "Hey, I need someone to really run this place, operationally, and I want to go to another level, and I've been thinking about you." And I kind of blew it off for a little bit, but as we would talk and I would kick it around and see what that meant to him, because I had some concerns, of course, I jumped ship from chiropractic and went over, and man, I mean, the first year was intense. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, but it's we're in our 8th year now, and no regrets. And I think, really, we make a pretty good team. Greg has a really good legal mind, honestly, and I think I'm pretty good with the hiring and firing and the staff and monitoring, but my strength really is, as I find myself here today, is in operations and implementing or implementation. So, yeah.
Great. Hey, Jeff, just one question for you. Going through losing a spouse like you did and having to care for her for many years and seeing that, what's one thing that sticks out in your mind, one lesson that you learned through that experience in life?
Oh boy, serving. Serving is never, you never regret serving. And really, it was, if I could say, emasculating in a way, giving up my identity of a chiropractor, what I thought that was. I had to cook and clean and take care of her and, all those things that go into caregiving. And you kind of emptied yourself of what you thought your identity was. So there's some lessons there. I never regret serving and giving. Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
And it really does. It does remain with me. That remains with me. It's indelible now.
Cool. Greg, what did you see in Jeff that made you want to bring him into your company? Besides, he's your little brother.
Yeah. Eric, and I think you and I have had this discussion, and I've had this discussion with several people. Good manager, good operators are good operators. They're good managers. And, you have a corporate background. I was with FedEx for years and real fortunate to be working with them. And I saw that the good operators could transition from one business to another. And it was just learning some of the nuances of the business. But good management and good operations, someone who's a good operator can transition over pretty well. And I knew Jeff he's being extremely modest on how they built that practice up there, and it was extraordinary. There were dozens and dozens of chiropractors in this town of less than 100,000, and they were rapidly number one. They were on television. They did a great job of marketing. They built that practice up, as he said. And so I was just looking at him, yes, as a brother, but also that he could be an asset because we were growing and I needed someone to run the operations. And he had that background. He just had to learn the property management side. Good operators are good operators.
Yeah, that's so true, Greg. And it's, property management isn't rocket science or brain surgery is what I like to say, and,
Right.
we can teach it to anybody and
Yep.
hiring great people and bringing great people onto your team. this, they can learn this business quickly. And back to Jeff's point, I mean, finding people that have a service background, that have that mindset of serving others and caring for others and everything, I find those are the best people that succeed in property management.
Great. And Eric, we've been doing this a little longer than Jeff. We have a lot of friends that have a variety of backgrounds that come into this business and have been very, very successful because they knew operations, they knew how to run a business.
Well, and they knew how to take care of people, and
Yep.
and they knew how to answer the phones and respond when there was an emergency and deal with things, to help talk people off the ledge, so to speak, when there's a challenge going on, and they just knew how to take care of people. So that's
Exactly.
very true. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's really a melting pot. The industry of property management is really a melting pot of all kinds of different backgrounds of people that are in this space. Well, Jeff, what was one of the biggest transitions that you had to make in moving from healthcare and chiropractic to coming into property management?
Oh boy, I think the knowing that legal. There, it's interesting. When I remember an experience of hiring our first maintenance technician who monitored our maintenance every day, and I got to do that for a few weeks. And you want to make it black and white. You want to say, if this happens, this happens. You do this. And as soon as I got into it, Greg would tell me these rules, and they all went out the window as soon as the next work order came up. It was amazing and frustrating at the same time. And so it was just really, it was time and doing a lot of questions to Greg at the time. And I just remember, I'm like, this is a moving target all the time. I'm trying to nail this down. I'm trying to get some black and white rules. And it seems, well, that's not going to happen in this case, was the answer. Like, it was really frustrating. So the first year, I have to tell you, was very challenging. And Greg just allowing me to constantly ask questions was what helped me in the game. And also just having the attitude, I'm going to be successful. I'm not going to let this lick me, But just it's not black and white. There's so many situations that happen that you think you have, you have the heart of and that's one of the issues with Greg and I, is I have his heart for his company. So when you get that down, you get down kind of the ethos of it all and the ethics and the direction, then you can make those judgment calls. But at first it was really because, I don't want to get us in legal trouble. And so I was second guessing myself all the time.
Sure.
And then finally you kind of jump into the rhythm and getting comfortable with it all. But that was a challenge of not just having a black and white answer.
Yeah. And, I'm a big study of the law and legal things and everything too. But, at the end of the day, it really comes down to just take care of people. Taking care of the people. And doing the right thing by the people that you're dealing with. And at least that's what I've found over the years in property management is, yes, we need to follow the law, and yes, we need to do what the law says. But if we start with the premise of what's the right thing to do, and how does this take care of the owner client? How does this take care of this tenant that's in a difficult situation? And, those are the things that stand out in my mind. I remember, a story from years ago that just things stand out in your mind. You just take care of people, you do the right things. So,
yeah, I came from this medical background where everything's supposed to be sterile, and you're in this exam room and you might have gloves, and then I get over into property management, and I think the second or third week we went into this property, and we only have one or two of these a year. But now we're entering our 8th year. This is still the worst one. We went into this property, and I'm kind of, I'm 2 weeks into this, not sure knowing what I'm doing. And there were cockroaches the size of the end of a pencil, like a eraser. And they were immature. And we were walking, and he had his hand on my back, and we were walking through it because there were thousands of these. I went out to the truck and I got this I happened to have this big can of spray for the yard. It was massive, and we were spraying directly on our feet all the way through this property. It was so bad that they had to pull every appliance, microwave, oven, dishwasher, and throw it away. We couldn't recover. I went through the doorpost, the frame, and hundreds. You think I'm exaggerating? Hundreds were coming out near my face right through here, and so it was quite the story in our office for at least 5 years. And that was my introduction to a bad eviction. And fortunately, we haven't had anything like that. But that was in my first 2 or 3 weeks. So that was interesting.
What stood out on that to me was the tenant had gotten the refrigerator from rent to own like 90 days before him. And we called rent to own and said, come get it. And they said no. And they left it there and walked away from it.
No. And I thought, what? I just went to school for 7 years. What am I doing? So, but fortunately, we've not had anything like that. It was just an intro. I think you set it up for me.
Oh, great.
Jeff, I should finally tell you, we never managed that property. I just wanted to take you to it.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah,
that's funny.
I think
we've come a long way.
I think we talked about cockroaches on our last episode, Greg. I think we probably need to try to stay off that topic for a little while. We might scare some people away.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. I've never had that experience. Never had that experience again. That's why it's a good intro.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to deal with being in property management for the last 8 years?
Oh boy, you know what is some of those things is realizing I don't know what I don't know, and one of the benefits of being with NORCM is you get in front of so many incredible people. We had a moment when we went down to a friend of ours, and it was Pete Newdig, by the way, and we went down there. I think I'd been on 4 or 5 months, and the way that they were doing some things were so ahead of the curve. They were very aggressive at implementing some new ideas that were very foreign to me and Greg. And I literally saw Greg change in that one visit, and we changed the focus coming home from that meeting. The challenges are keeping up and being relevant. And it's easy in this industry, I think, to sit back and go, I've got a good business. And it goes back to the book, Good to Great, a good business. But if you want to excel, you have to get in front of good people who know more than you do and be willing to risk. You weigh that out. But I tell you, we're entering our 6th year with VAs, and we have at least 10, maybe more, probably 12. We have a virtual property manager because we went down that road. It wasn't foreign to us. So the reason I bring that up is because when COVID hit, it was a significant speed bump, but it was not a huge pitfall for us. And really just being willing and always looking that can we do this process better? So to answer your question is challenging myself not to settle and to always look at our processes frequently and say, can we do that better?
It's so easy to get into a routine and then you feel good about that routine, and then you don't continue to ask yourself, what should I be prepared for next? Or what needs to be improved? The routine is comfortable. And I see this in a lot of small business owners all over the country, to be honest, is they get comfortable because they're making enough money, or they get comfortable because there's enough cash flow, and then they stop innovating, or they stop thinking about improving the business, or they stop thinking about developing their team and developing the next level of leadership in their company, and it's they kind of get complacent. And so you're right, you've got to constantly be exposing yourself to new ideas and new ways of doing things, so that we're constantly getting better. Constantly looking to improve.
You know, Eric,
Yeah,
and one of the things that I really love about NARPM is that, we fully support NARPM, and I don't think we've ever missed a convention or a broker owner, but when you put yourself in that environment with others who are like-minded, it does help challenge you all the time. It starts looking at where the new innovative process could be, or new creative thought on how to do something. And I'm making this number up, but I mean, easily 50% of some of the things that we've come up with, we've just, we've either gotten from you or Pete Newbig or Brad or, Larson, Steve Schultz. I mean, and it's just sitting around and putting yourself in that environment. But I think also it's the willingness to have an open mind that you're going to change, or you're going to need to change, or be open to change, and not just this is the way we've always done it. But that keeps you on the cutting edge, because everything's always changing in life right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Greg. And of course, NARPM, the National Association of Residential Property Managers, had a huge impact in my business as I was growing our company and building it. And if you're in property management and you're not a part of that group, then you need to seriously consider joining that group and participating, getting involved in NARPM, because you will learn. You'll meet just a tremendous group of people, but you'll learn so much about things that you can do in your business to make your business better. So definitely be a part of that for sure.
Good.
So Jeff, I think recently you kind of got involved in the insurance business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I am a licensed insurance agent, going on 3 years now, and another adventure. And FYI, my dad, or our dad, was in property management for 50 plus years. So I've grown up with a manager and insurance in our home. And towards the end of his career, he was in surplus lines, which is providing insurance where insurance isn't provided sometimes. It's kind of above and beyond a normal insurance. Where insurance can't be, a normal insurance company can't provide something, surplus lines comes in and does that, offers that. So we've been exposed to that, my entire life with my dad. So it is intriguing to me when you and Greg approached me about processes and operations again. And so I jumped into that and been working on, I think 2 years now, the processes behind the scenes and doing this right. And it's been a road. It's been exciting, and it's one of those things you don't know what you don't know until you're in the middle of it.
Right.
But we really the insurance company we deal with is been in the business 40 plus years, and they are a wealth of knowledge. And what's interesting about our company is I'm able to personally pick the phone up and call the president of the company any day of the week and get an answer within an hour, and that has been invaluable, to not have to have such this massive bureaucracy to go through and make customers wait for a week or 4 days to get an answer, where I try to get back to them that day. So
Right.
It's fun.
No, that's true. There's so much going on in insurance and so many changes in property management nowadays. And of course, Renders Insurance Solutions is the company that you're a part of with Greg, and actually with me too. And just enjoy working on that venture with you guys, and working to provide property managers with options that can protect their clients, their owners, and protect the tenants that they serve with good insurance, good quality insurance coverage, but also allow the property managers to make a profit and participate in the profits through a captive insurance model in those products. So,
right.
Definitely a good thing. And Jeff, one of the big product that kind of started us down this path was security deposit replacement insurance. How are you seeing that helping tenants and residents that you're dealing with?
Well, that's the question. It's been extremely helpful. It's been even more valuable to the property management company to have these tools, because we're going through something so unusual. Property management gets attacked a lot by legislature. It tends to lean more towards a tenant, which we of course want to take care of our tenants, but we're working for an investor. and it just is so challenging for them to put up a $400,000 to $800,000 property and let anybody in. And so our job is to protect them. That's what we're the professionals. And this we've seen across the United States. More than a third of the United States has implemented some form of legislature asking or requiring what is in slang now called renter's choice, where you cannot just ask for a traditional security deposit. You have to offer some form of other way to get in for these tenants, to lower the bar for them. But yet our job is to protect the owner. And so that's a significant challenge. So what I love about what we're doing, I love about this insurance company, it's built for property management companies to protect them and their owners. So this security deposit, we call it, again, slang is kind of a waiver. It allows a tenant, they get offered, hey, the property manager sends it, says you're approved, and now you owe $2,500 for a traditional deposit, or you can take part in this fee. It may be $25, it may be $65, in that range, depending on the coverage. And the tenant is not purchasing insurance. They're just giving a fee so they do not have to put up that security deposit. And what we're doing as Renters Insurance Solutions is we're providing a policy to the property management company. The tenant cannot cancel that policy. It's not in their name. It's in the name of the property management company, which is in a way brilliant. And that's what we like about this so much. It's kind of a master policy.
And Jeff,
It's a hot item right now.
Yeah. Where could property managers go to learn more about Renters Insurance Solutions, Jeff?
Well, our website is Renters Insurance Solutions. It's very long. RentersInsuranceSolutions.co. RentersInsuranceSolutions.co. We'll be at all the major conferences also. We'll be at Texas Style soon. We're going to be at National out in Vegas, and
Great.
We'll have a booth. Yeah.
Yeah, Greg, talk about Texas Style. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. That's NARPM's Texas State Conference. Tell us a little bit about that.
Really excited about it. I think the team putting that together has really tried to do something out of the box this year. For the first time in the history of Texas Style, which is our state conference. They're not holding it in Austin. They've moved it to San Antonio. I think it'll be a better venue. It's getting too challenging to hold what the convention people consider smaller conventions, so they've been less willing to work with us. And it's made it very demanding and challenging the last couple of years to hold a conference here. And we've not been able to do it at the level that the membership expect and deserve. So by taking it to San Antonio, and I know Brian Phelps and Peter Hernandez have been working really hard on this, and they've got a good lineup going. It's right down on the Riverwalk. They're going to do some special attention for vendors, try something a little new, and have some real good speakers coming in. We're excited about it. It's going to be a real fun conference. Again, first one back since COVID too, so that'll be really exciting to see everybody. It's just great to see everybody. So, looking forward.
Yeah, it is always great. It always is great to see everybody. I think I'm going to be on a panel talking about risk in property management. So I'm looking forward to seeing some folks down there in San Antonio, and that's coming up in September. Is that right, Greg?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have the date in front of me, but I'll get it before we're over here. Yeah, it's in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. So if you want to learn more about that, go to narpm.org, NARPM's website, narpm.org, and learn more about the Texas Style Conference. Well, Jeff, you mentioned legislation involved in property management and insurance. And, one of the things that I'm seeing and like to talk about for a couple of minutes is some of these cities and counties and states are starting to pass new laws that are impacting landlords. Right. And so I thought we'd talk about that for a minute. Right. I was reading just this last week, the city of Naples, Florida, has passed an ordinance that requires landlords to give residents a minimum of 60 days notice if they have a rent increase of more than 5%. So now every landlord in the city of Naples has got to make sure that they comply with a city ordinance that says 5% or more rent increase, then 60 days notice is required to the tenants. How have you seen, Jeff? How have you seen legislation coming to play and impacting the property management industry?
Well, it's everywhere. I talk with people weekly all over the country. Oregon has different rules than just the state above it in Washington, and there are different challenges. And we live in this conservative state of Texas, and they've ruled on this whole subject of security deposits. I was floored that they put out information and ruling on this already. So that's the idea for us, is to help property managers be prepared and be ahead of the curve of what's coming. And we're already seeing it as we're talking about. This is happening all across the United States. The city of Chicago is different from just the state of Chicago. So when I have these phone calls, I'm learning about each county. Illinois, and it's different from Chicago. And it's happening all across the United States. And what we're trying to do with this product, we've been, in our third year with this, with a company that's been doing it over, I think over 38, 39 years in this industry, is we want to be a solution. That's why we put that in our title. We want to be ahead of the curve so that property management companies aren't caught off guard, because a lot of people are running their business and their lives. They're not sitting around looking at what legislature's doing. And then all of a sudden they go to a real estate convention and they're getting told, what just took place 2 weeks ago, and they're behind. And the guy next door down the street has already implemented the program.
Greg, what do you think? You think we're going to see more and more of this around the country?
Well, I do, Eric. I was just reading, and I'm sorry I don't have the source right now, but it talked about the 10 large cities, some of them on the East Coast, but we're seeing 25% rental increases year over year. And what I like about working with y'all is we're all investors, so we're looking at this from the investor side. We're property managers, business owners, but we've all had family members. We all have our children who have been tenants. And so a lot of times we've had some insurance products and we said, we don't feel good about this. If we can't sell this to our kids, or if someone else was not selling this product to our kids, and it wouldn't be a good product. So I'm really excited because this is a good product that's out there. But I think from the legislation standpoint, as rental prices increase, and then as I mentioned, in 10 of the cities, they're up over 25%. The legislators feel like they're forced to do something to give some kind of relief. And I think we're going to see this, as we talked about, we thought it was going to expand. I think it's going to accelerate, the expansion is going to accelerate as these rents happen, and we're going to see more and more legislation. So again, as Jeff's point was, this is one time that we can get ahead of something and be proactive. And and benefit all, the tenant, the landlord, and the property management company, because it's the captive product.
Yeah, that's true. There's just so much change, and housing affordability is a huge issue, and
right.
When it comes to rents, and certainly we certainly have seen the price of housing go up significantly across the country, of purchasing homes, and now kind of on the heels of that slowing down, now rents are skyrocketing in many markets, and we obviously people need to be able to afford a place to live, and that's important to us. So we need to be positive about that, and working to make sure that people have great quality housing that they can afford and that they can get into while we're taking care of those needs. But how is this, Greg, how do you think these changes that we're kind of seeing over the country, is that good for property managers or bad for property managers?
I don't know, Eric. I'm a small G guy. I'm a small government guy. So just knee-jerk reaction is anytime the government gets involved, I get real nervous. But I think there's going to have to be some solution, and I think this is a real good solution that's proactive. And if we can implement this voluntarily throughout the property management industry, then we'd have less government intervention dictating that we must do certain things. I like that we're coming up with solutions within the industry. And I think they're good solutions for the tenant. We're helping the tenant as the prices go up. It's the affordability of moving into a place is getting staggeringly high. So when we can offer any option to reduce that upfront cash, we're doing the industry a service. But at the same time, and we've all talked about this, our employer is the landlord. So we have to offer protection to them. By doing that, when we can offer this service and still protect them, but what we like and what we're personally doing is offering even additional protection by increasing the security deposit, which we can do. It's been a win-win. And then for the first time in a long time, if ever, the property management company can participate in the premium profits because of this captive. I just love this product because all three different aspects of this win and everyone's successful at it.
Great. Well, hey guys, what's it like working with family members? Talk a little bit about that for a minute.
Well, boy. Okay. Well, I guess accountability is the word that comes. You can't normally talk to your boss the way I do mine. So when Greg goes off the rails, and in my opinion, I let it be known, and of course he does the same for me. But it's interesting because the family and the business kind of blurs sometimes. We're talking about both all the time, but it's been phenomenal. I think a little of that has bled over into how I hire because I want to have the heart. Every once in a while I think, okay, he's my brother, but it is his business. He is the broker, and I'm here to serve him. And so I think that way when I'm hiring. When I bring people on, I want people who I think are going to be kind and have our interest at heart. And like you said earlier in the beginning here, Eric, it's serving and doing the right thing. In our mission statement, which we actually, the mission statements were a thing, but we really do look at our mission statement. It is important. And one of the last things on there says doing the right thing. And it does make it easier to do the right thing when you have a family member that 90% of it, we don't even have to ask each other. We just know. When he's out of town, I'm making decisions and he knows I have his back and I don't have to call him up and ask. So it's been wonderful. The first year it was challenging. And everything was challenging, because I wanted to come in and do things, and it was his business, and so. But it's been wonderful.
Well, Eric,
my
role of that is for many years I've been blessed to have Jeff as my brother. I've always had a high admiration for him, his character, the quality of his life, and. I've just always thought very well and high of Jeff, and so it's been pretty easy for me in many aspects. I brought in one of the best employees anybody can have, but also someone who's one of my trusted. Be honest, it's Jeff and my wife are the trusted sounding boards I have. I don't ever want them or expect them to pull punches. So it's pure honesty, good, bad, or whatever that's out there. And several times Jeff's reined me back in, rightfully so. But I don't know how other people do it, working with family. I know that I'm better off for this, and the business is better off. It's been incredible for us, or for me personally, and for the business that we've been able to have him join us and stay with us this long. So it's been great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well,
if I may
ahead.
interrupt for 1 second, I have the dates for NARPM, Texas NARPM, and this is appropriate because this is the last week to register before the prices increase. So it is in San Antonio, and it's September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So you can go to the Texas NARPM website and register before the prices increase. And it's going to be a fun time, and it's going to be very educational. So
Awesome.
Good deal.
And
Yeah.
and people who come will be able to meet Jeff, right?
oh,
That's
absolutely.
right.
That's right.
great.
Have
That's
their
great.
I'll be
picture
giving out
taken.
balloons.
Have their picture
Go
taken
by
with
the
Jeff.
book.
Get his maybe
Have her
get him to
picture
sign
taken with
something.
Jeff.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's right.
That's great. That's great. Well, hey Jeff, to
Yeah.
bring your story full circle as we kind of start to wrap up today, you're now happily remarried, and
Yes.
kind of a little bit of a Brady Bunch story. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had 3 kids, and my wife has 4, so we have 7, and we just sent 4 off to Texas A&M just this last week. We have 4 in at one time, and
Wow.
it's been fun, challenging but fun, and man, oh man, I'm telling you, talk about learning a lot very quickly. But I'm very blessed. We've been married 3 years, and she's amazing and fits right into the family, and actually gets along with Greg. So I thought that was good. And,
Important.
no, I'm kidding. Yeah, that's no.
She's a
No,
great-
but it's been wonderful. Yeah,
She's great.
Yeah.
She is really
Yeah,
a
so-
great asset to the family.
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's been
Great.
tremendous. So,
Great.
but-
Well,
but-
Jeff, thanks
but
for
now I have
for
to keep
agreeing
working.
Thanks for agreeing to come on to our podcast and talk a little bit about yourself and about property management. And we certainly hope our listeners learned a thing or two that can help them in their business. And certainly want
Thank you.
our listeners to be able to subscribe to the podcast and be notified of future episodes that come out. Click that like button, like this podcast if you enjoyed the content here. And we're grateful to be able to do this. Greg, it was good talking to you again.
Yes.
As
And,
you well, as
I'll-
well. Thank you.
I look forward to being in person with both you guys in a couple of weeks in San Antonio.
Yeah.
That sounds
Thank
great.
you very
Thank
much.
you, Eric.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Jeff.
It's good. Thanks.
We'll see y'all.
All right.
All right.
See you guys.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a great day.